Oh, Sessy, the flagship show's back on another Sunday night. We had football in Berlin. We had unstoppable offense. We had the Patriots checking another box, and the Jets and Browns played each other. Ooh la la.
A sensory feast for us all.
Heed the Call starts now. Heyo, welcome to Heed the Call, an NFL podcast. The Week 10 Sunday flagship program recapping everything that happened in your league. Dan Hanzus here with Marc Sessler, Conor Orr, Justin Graver. Really solid Sunday. Let's start right there. Really solid Sunday, Mark. I thought especially in the early windows, things got a little squirrely in the back half of the afternoon. But man, there was some tightly contested football, including the game in Berlin. I'll sign up. Give it to me. All you got, I'll take it.
We needed it, and I think if you looked at the slate back on our preview show, I wouldn't have predicted it. But this whole thing is unpredictable beyond comprehension.
This life you see, right?
Life.
Is that yes, Connor?
Well,
that's
the league, but also,
yes.
but it also would include life if you want to go deeper.
And on the day that the Air Force One buzzed the tower in Landover, there's Conor Orr in his salute to service sweatshirt. This guy is falling right into line. What's up, Con Man?
I inadvertently bought this from like a Chinese Walmart. Like you go to the webpage and it looks very much like Walmart, and and then the package comes like 3.5 weeks later from China. And I gotta say though, it's a hell of a knockoff. Like everything's stitched on very nicely and everything. So
it's not because this would not surprise me either. The NFL doesn't outsource the salute to service merch that they charge full price for and then don't give back to the military or veterans, as I understand it. Is that made in the USA? Justin, can you work on that? Let's find out the manufacturing process.
Put Justin
of
right
this.
to work.
Military. What is it? Military Awareness Month. I just remember when we worked at NFL, these pins would start stacking up on your desk. It would be one awareness month after another, and it started to feel like a big gray, or beige, like a great fog of awareness would kind of settle over you. You weren't sure what to be aware about, but there was a lot to be aware of. And that was, football is family. That was the other thing I remember.
That pin held true.
Yes, Justin. Do you have the information?
You can never really trust Google AI, but sometimes it gives you
Justin.
the answer that you're looking for right off the bat, and therefore I'm going to roll with it. NFL's salute to service gear is primarily manufactured in China, as this is the leading location for cost-effective production of NFL jerseys and apparel.
Okay. Everything's spot on there. All right. Enough. The league has disappointed me once more. Let us get into the action, into all the games. We're going to cap the show with Sunday Night Football this week, and we're going to lead, because the early window was so fun, with the games that came out of that zone primarily, starting with the big showdown. Intra-conference?
That's what Justin should work on.
Yeah, let's Google, not AI that. Let's
Intra.
look that up in an encyclopedia or a dictionary. Okay, intra, Connor says, between the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, yeah. This is why you got to listen to the preview show for Heed the Call, because we teed it up. We said New England has checked every box so far during this 6-game winning streak, but here's a huge one. On the road, against a game Bucs team, coming off a bye, having a chance to really stamp yourself as a Super Bowl contender. And that's exactly what the New England Patriots did, getting another strong performance from quarterback Drake May, a breakout performance from Connor's boy Travion Henderson, 2 long touchdown runs, 147 yards on the ground, and a huge defensive stand in the fourth quarter when it looked like Baker was going to do Baker things. Final score 28-23. Pats improved to 8-2 and open up a nice little lead in the AFC East. We'll get to the Bills later. The Bucs fall to 6-3 and a little scuffling a little bit right now on offense, at least. Boys, I watched this game. I drafted it first overall because I couldn't wait to see how New England came out of this, because as much as I have fun with my Patriots takes, my anti-Patriots takes, and by the way, it's all authentic. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe the worst thing that could happen to the NFL is the Patriots going on another long run of success. We needed them to go away for 30 to 40 years. It was the way I saw it. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend what's happening is not happening. The Patriots are absolutely on the rise. And I thought the biggest moment of this game, and again, checking the box. They keep doing it. Biggest moment of the game, last play of the first half, 4th and goal from the Bucs 1 yard line, 2 seconds on the clock. The Bucs are ahead 10-7 at this point. Drake May drops back. He throws the ball in the corner of the end zone. Probably shouldn't be a catch. Slightly overthrown. But Stephon Diggs has been money for this team all year. What a brilliant signing that was. Brilliant toe tap catch. And then the Pats get the ball. So that's a touchdown. They go up at the half. Then they get the ball to start the third quarter. And Travion Henderson breaks his first long touchdown run. And from that point on, New England was in control of this game. So check that box at the end of the first half. Check that box coming out of the third quarter. Then when the game is in the balance and it looks like Baker is going to go full Baker, the Pats step up again. They invade the backfield on 4th down. They blow up that conversion attempt with about 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Check that box. And finally, for the second straight week, New England's offense with Josh McDaniels flipping all the right levers has to make one more first down to end this game. They do better. On 2nd and long, Travion goes off tackle, busts another one to the house. Check. The Patriots are a problem in the AFC.
I think you kind of mentioned it like Travion Henderson's first breakout game. Kyle Williams looks like he could become a factor down the stretch. The defense is growing. The coaching is great. I think Josh McDaniels feels as aggressive as I've ever seen him. And just watching Drake May, even when there have been a couple moments, he got hit hard in this game. I think he took a couple whacks and kept up, kept going, and kept making these really wonderful throws. I can think of one to Demario Douglas that was such a pretty, juicy type of throw. And it's like, you kind of just wonder, how do they keep growing? Because I thought if the Henderson thing sticks, and, Stevenson is out, but if they find out, wait a minute, we got to use this guy and lean on him, this offense adds a whole new dimension, and they're just becoming more dangerous by the game.
What stunned me, I think, was the realization at how closely aligned this really is to a lot of the Patriots teams that Josh McDaniels called offenses for with Tom Brady. They're running duo. They're running the ball up the middle. They're cycling out different blockers as fullbacks. They're confusing the defense, and they're just toying with people and kind of playing cat and mouse. And obviously a lot of that rests on the shoulders of a potentially generational quarterback. But this is a version of the Tom Brady offense. It's just a little supercharged. And maybe we're seeing what that would have been in those later years if Bill Belichick had replenished the stock of weapons a little bit. I don't know. It's very fun.
They're fun to watch, and Vrabel really has come in, and I have to, again, this is terrible. I mean, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. It makes me sick to the stomach knowing that the Patriots are good and potential really good, but you got to tip your cap. I mean, Bob Kraft f***ed up. He went and he identified Gerard Mayo as this guy. He was wrong, and here's the difference between a guy like a Bob Kraft and a guy like a Woody or the truck man in Cleveland or any of the other bad owners in this league, right? He said, okay, I'm wrong. I'm going to take the heat, and I'm going to make sure that guy Vrabel doesn't end up with the Jets or anybody else. And Vrabel has totally changed the identity of this team. He has them ready to play every week. It reminds me a lot, to your point, Connor, of those old Patriots teams where you're never going to catch the Patriots unprepared. They know how to handle situations. They're fundamentally sound, and they have explosive playmakers. On top of it, here is Vrabel after the game.
It was a long game. It's a tough place to play. It was warm, and they're good. The guys played hard, and they earned being tired, and they are tired, and we'll have to get them back. And we got a short game, short week, and excited to move on.
This team misses, on the Bucs side, this team misses Mike Evans a lot. and he's not coming back anytime soon. I thought Baker, he got an early touchdown. They went right down the field on the first possession. Igbuka scored another touchdown, his first touchdown in a while, and then you saw Baker kind of trying to force it to the rookie a little bit. The operation just isn't clicking right now, and I don't want to take away anything from New England's defense, but I think they caught Tampa Bay at the right time here too, where they're trying to like figure out where they're at offensively. It feels like they're just, in addition to the defensive lapses with the big plays, the offense is a little bit out of step right now.
It also mattered that Christian Gonzalez was on Igbuka. Like, he played a good game, but this was a rough matchup because we mentioned how many players they're missing right now. And Baker, it's like nothing changes Baker Mayfield. He still had a chance to win this at the end, but they just feel shorthanded, and I hope they get healthier quickly before any sort of other losses mount.
Okay. You worried about your Bucs, Mark?
No, but I do think they played a better team today. I truly think that the Patriots, if you can go win that game on the road in Tampa, a muggy, rough environment, like that says a lot to me. You're right. Check the box. Check the box.
By the way, Romo definitely looked more Tony Romo-like today in the natural sunlight of Tampa. That's something to keep an eye on calling this game. He also had one of the stranger quotes of the season to his buddy Jim Nantz.
This team is DTF, Jim.
And I wish I could remember what he meant by that.
I mean, like detailed.
It was something like that.
Right.
But it was like, and then I'm thinking to myself, Jim Nantz,
details, toughness, and they finish.
What? Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, as I'm trying to unpack that, I was like, did I hear what I just heard? And then I'm like, everybody knows what DTF means, right? Like, and if you don't, look it up. Urban Dictionary will help you out. And then I'm thinking, does Jim Nantz know what DTF means? Like the most milquetoast, like Masters ass sitting on the couch Memorial Day weekend watching the U.S. Open ass dad of all time? Like, probably not. So, but the people in the truck had to know.
Yeah.
That Tony Romo, in the middle of the big, the biggest telecast of the week, just said that the Patriots were down to like, just wild. But you know what? Maybe inadvertently he was absolutely right, because this Patriots team is down to in a lot of different ways. All right.
Many ways.
With that said, I think I might have hit on the theme of the week already, accidentally there, but we're going to now clear the runway for Marc Sessler before we get into our next game. The Week 10 theme of the week.
My theme of the week is, pretty simply put, kitty bites.
I mean, these are getting harder by the week, Mark. What I mean, Connor?
Is it just that the teams that were like these little kind of pet teams that we've all had throughout the year that aren't the established blue bloods, they're starting to dominate? Is that what Mark was
I have
trying
a theory.
to say?
I have a theory. Whatever Connor's answer was, Mark was just going to say, "Yep, that's it."
No, it's not. I think like it's felt like a season with a bunch of eyesore teams that you can't predict from week to week, and that's going to be there all through the regular season. But I thought today we got a couple teams that, especially in the late window, that like, we're going to bite you and it's going to sting. And then we got one game that we'll get into that was an all-out surprise, middle of the night, walk down the alley cat fight that went the other way than you'd think. So kitty bites.
And Justin, can you confirm that Mark didn't send this at like 4 a.m. Saturday night? Like this was something that was cooked up based on the games that were played today?
I can confirm the text came, second half of the late window games. Here comes
very methodical to our other weeks, Justin.
Absolutely. About the same time as every week.
I'm sorry for doubting. All right. Let's kitty bites the theme for week 10. And I like that because we put you put that in the audio show. It's in the title, right? So now you fuckers have to figure it out when it drops into your feed on Monday morning, because obviously
it's your responsibility.
Yeah, Connor and I could not. Let's move to our next game of the week. It was another big time showdown. This time, the NFC West showdown. The Rams looking for revenge against the Niners, and they got it. Matthew Stafford's definitely my MVP. Eat my butt if you disagree. Stafford's out of his mind right now, folks. Out of his mind. And I'll give you some of the stats over the bigger picture recently. But in this game, 24 of 36, 280 yards, 4 more touchdowns. He's doing that every week now. This Rams offense is a Ferrari. Blowing past Chrysler Town and Countries in the countryside. Rams 42, Niners 26. Connor, what a show. I mean, what a show by Sean McVay against his old buddy Shanahan. Just an absolute mollywhopping by this offense.
And it left me really disappointed in myself because I'm normally a very overreactionary person. And I think that every little move that's made in the NFL is going to be historic and game changing. But the Rams drafted a tight end in the second round of this year's draft, pick 46, Terrence Ferguson. And I was just like, oh, who gives a shit? And it turns out that they're running 13 personnel, 3 tight end sets, 50% of the time. And this is already a team that can make a normal 11 personnel look like 12 personnel because all their receivers block, and then they're throwing out 13 personnel, and no one can stop it. It's either too big to protect, or on the defensive side of the ball, too big to stop the run. But these tight ends are athletic. Ferguson had a big catch in this game, and he just rounds out this unit that's just, my God. I mean, it's Matthew Stafford's on pace for like 47 touchdowns this year. It's crazy.
Let me give you some Stafford stats because it's just, he's playing at such a high level. And again, I don't want to harp on this, but if you do what we do for a living, it is so funny to think about how incredibly well he's playing and then put that up against the way we talked about the Rams and this player all throughout the summer when he had a bad back or whatever it was.
Well,
and he was
based
missing
on what
practices.
we were told, but yeah.
Yeah, because he is on a historic stretch right now. Let's see. He is the first quarterback since the merger to have 3 straight games with 4 or more touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He has 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in his past 6 games. He became the first quarterback in franchise history to throw 4+ touchdown passes in 3 straight regular season games. Also the 7th QB in NFL history to accomplish that feat. And Mark, as I'm watching this game, it reminded me so much of playing Madden. When you're going against somebody you know that's better than you and is just really a high-level player, and you in your mind, you're like, I have to score every time I have the ball and then hope for something to go wrong on the other side, a fumble, an INT, some type of special teams gaffe. Only in this game, the Rams didn't let up. They never blinked. Even thicker kicker was here, filling in a kicker. He goes 6 for 6 on extra points. It was close to a perfect performance in a lot of ways by LA. This is another Super Bowl contender.
And I think to Connor's point, it speaks to the deep research that these two coaches put in to combat each other, because this looked more like what the Niners used to do to the Rams. Remember when the Rams were soft and they opened the game with a powerful 10-play drive touchdown, and they seal it because the game was in question because the Niners also closed with 4 touchdowns. That got interesting until it didn't. They seal the game later with a 12-play 49-yard touchdown. These aren't huge yardage things, but to Connor's point, they went and found, because this was a day where on Twitter, it's like suddenly 7,000 people were talking about 13 personnel. It's like, okay, let's check out what's going on here. But when you go and look at what that looks like from like a sky view, it was like a chorus line of Burley Woodsman. It just looked impenetrable. And this is a wanting, kind of banged up Niners defense right now. It really is. And they met them at the right time, but they also had the right strategy.
It blows my mind too, because it's almost like no NFL team got the memo. The Eagles came out last year and they showed that we built an entire team around the idea that defenses just aren't big enough and we don't care and we're going to mow people down. And the Rams saw that and they were like, okay, cool. we're going to kind of do the same thing, but in a way that leaves us a couple more options in the passing game. And our offensive line quite isn't dominant as that offensive line, so we'll make up for it in other places. But coming up with the same conclusion. And all these teams drafted big defensive tackles. All these teams tried to get bigger in the offseason, and it's just not working. And I don't know. The whole thing is just, it's incredible. It really is.
Here's the Rams by possession in this game. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Then at the end of the first half, they go a little limp, and they let Niners get back in the game. Punt, punt. Then they come out of the half. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Kneel on it. End of the game. And yeah, the Niners for a while were keeping pace. They were going back and forth, and it was 21-0, and then the Niners get it to 21-14, and they just could not get a stop. They had no answers, and not only do you have Puka Nacua on this team and Devontae Adams. Keep an eye on Adams, who had an oblique in this game. They said he would have been able to go back in the game if he had to, but that's an injury. I really like both of their running backs. I said this about it last week too. Blake Corum that guy can make plays too. And if he is your number 2 running back, that depth is something that teams obviously would kill to have. So you go 2 deep at running back. You have 2 superstar wide receivers. You have tight ends that are making plays. You have a defense that has playmakers at every level and dominant players up front. And you have a veteran quarterback playing Hall of Fame level quarterback, entered the 400 touchdown club in this game, playing at the highest level of his career. I mean, look out. This is a team. This is a team at 7-2 and atop the NFC West with the Seahawks. Anything else on this one, Connor? Oh, yes, that's something else. Zuzzer gets off the schneid and locked up the Rams.
Okay,
I'm very happy
well
I
done.
did.
Well done.
Go ahead, Connor.
Just that I think that there is probably a worthwhile conversation to be had at this point. Brock Purdy could have played as the emergency quarterback. I think Kyle Shanahan said so. He's good enough to be there, not quite good enough to be the starter. But I think there are a lot of people wondering if Mac Jones should just hold on to the job. He did not play poorly today and has not.
I thought he was really
No,
good.
he was good. Yeah.
I thought he had a great game. So I don't know. I think that's.
Do you think it's a
something to keep
Kyler
an eye on.
Murray situation a little bit? Could be coming into focus here.
I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but I really want to see. I think Purdy does process a little bit faster, but there's a griminess to Mac Jones, and he probably gets some of the second chance scores that Purdy doesn't get. But man, I like watching him. I really do.
He was 33 of 39 in this game. They didn't lose because of the quarterback. All right, let's take a break, and when we get back, exactly. He laughs last. We'll take a break. When we get back, we'll keep on rolling through week 10. You know what the holidays mean in my house? Well, you don't live in my house, but you can understand. It's chaos. There's shopping, hosting, gifting, and about 1,000 little things in between. But I've learned to make it easier on myself at Bob's Discount Furniture. I love gifting, and honestly, why not go big this year? Forget about another candle.
Right.
Get a power reclining sofa for just $9.99, which honestly, that's insane. That's a great deal. They've got those sploosh chairs for kids. I know Sessler has one on his mind for himself. I also, I'm a Bob's guy. I got 2 outdoor rocking chairs and also got this storage bed for the bedroom. We have space issues at our house, Mark, and having the storage bed, I can put a bunch of stuff under the bed and forget about it forever, which is my goal.
No, it's ideal for your type of household situation. There's some incredible items here, and if you're looking to freshen things up before the guests arrive, there are tons of smaller items too. Stylish decor, accent pieces, the works. Whether you're gifting, hosting, or just trying to make your space holiday ready, you can do it all without the stress. Shop, haggle, and hassle-free when you holiday the Bob's way.
Bob's way, baby! All right, we are back. Week 10 in the NFL. Let's head next to Minnesota, where 9 was looking to put together the first win streak of his career, but the Ravens, Ravens are heating up. Heating up like the soundtrack. The soundtrack to me is like when I went to Newberry Comics in Boston when I was in college, and I got Kid A by Radiohead, and I listened to it the first time, and I'm like, can I get my money back? What? And I listened to it like the 5th time, and I'm like, well, maybe this was $19 okay spent. Then by the 30th time listen to it, I knew I was listening to one of the essential rock albums of its era. That's what I think about our soundtrack.
It feels like a stretch, but I appreciate the parallel.
How to disappear completely. The Minnesota Vikings offense knows. They were unable to get anything going, really, against the Ravens, who have now won 3 straight games. Lamar Jackson has this team pointed upward after a 27-19 win in Minnesota. Gravy, you had this game. Listen, we all thought that the Ravens were going to go on a run, but they still had to go on the run, and now they're going on the run.
Yeah, and we can shut down all the talk, that the early season talk about the Ravens defense being unable to stop anybody. They look, they're getting healthier. Roquan Smith back. Kyle Hamilton was making plays all over the field, knocking down passes as a blitzer, intercepting balls on the back end, and really, making it difficult on the young quarterback, 9, to go out there and execute the way that he wanted to. The Ravens couldn't get the ball in the end zone to start this game. They kicked 4 straight field goals, and then they're able to break through twice in the second half and really blow the game open. And 27-19 was the final score, but this was like a 2-touchdown lead for most of the fourth quarter that didn't really feel surmountable for the Vikings.
How did 9 look in this game?
I think he was pretty up and down, fairly erratic. He's a young quarterback, and he made plays in this game, don't get me wrong. He had a few really nice throws. His touchdown pass was a really nice pass, right in the bucket, just an absolute dime. Making a few plays outside of structure, escaping the rush. Only took 1 sack and was under pressure quite a bit in this game, so credit to him for that. And that sack, he sort of took before halftime in a situation that I thought was okay to take a sack there because it makes the clock run and the Ravens have to call timeout. But there were too many throws where he had an open receiver and it just airmailed it way over his head, or uncatchable ball placement, put the ball in harm's way a number of times. His second interception was not his fault. Justin Jefferson tangled his feet up with Marlon Humphrey down the field and fell down. And in the replay, Marlon Humphrey is just the only player down there catching he's the wide open player deep down the field. It's basically an arm punt. His first interception, though, was not a good read. He should have had a third interception, but Roquan Smith couldn't haul it in. So I would say not good enough, even for a guy. I think it was this. We said maybe on the pregame show that this was his 5th start. I think this was only his 4th start. So even for a guy only in his 4th start, it just simply it wasn't good enough.
All right, so I have to say this because I didn't have a chance to watch a game. So I'm only I'll get out of the way after sharing this. That this team, in addition to those turnovers you spoke of, they also had. This is crazy.
Yeah, I know what you're about to say.
He threw 2 interceptions. He had 5 passes tipped or batted down at the line of scrimmage. He targeted Justin Jefferson, I think 12 times. At one point, it was 12 targets and 4 receptions, so there wasn't any connection there. And then there was the absurd number of false starts and a home game, 8 false start penalties. And I guess the only thing those stats tell me is that there is no flow to this KOC offense right now with the young quarterback.
What's amazing is that 9 took responsibility for all that like a true captain.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a dog.
So, just wanted to point everybody to the podium on that one. Took full responsibility.
Let's go to the podium and check out what 9. And by the way, if you don't know, that is the nickname JJ McCarthy has given himself.
It's just all things about, growing in this great game of football, and all experiences that I take that data and collect it and then use it for the next time.
I mean, I wouldn't judge people that give themselves nicknames.
I hope not. Or 5.
I wouldn't do it. But if you're going to give yourself a nickname, if you're going to put it in lights,
It's a Dan Hanzus shout out.
If you're going to put it in lights, you better back it up. You may love me, you may hate me, but I am the old Zeuser. Are you 9? Let's see.
But
Are you 9?
We would not have known on your 4th podcast 14 years ago that you were backing anything up, right? I mean, now we know. We've got to give him a little bit of time.
All right, let's give him all the time we can.
Not all the time. But
meanwhile, the Sands are slipping through the hourglass of the Viking season here.
Well, maybe it is this season. Maybe that's happening this season. But the script for him shouldn't be 42 attempts where he's got 22 incompletions. That's not what you want to do with him right now. But even if this season melts away, how many teams we look at and say it's about the growth of the young quarterback? For some reason, we're looking at him differently. Like, I mean, not that we're entirely
Mark,
doing that,
wait. We are, in part, we are because of the decision, and this isn't fair to him. You're right. In part because of the decision-making of the team. This was a 14-3 team last year that turned to an unproven quarterback. So that raises expectations. Not many teams are going to go 14-3, bring back a lot of veterans on the roster, and then say this is a developmental year. This was a weird, kind of funky season in general. And
it was a weird situation too.
It's a little bit of a weird situation, which is not his fault. I just want to make that clear. I'm not bagging on the kid.
I don't think the Vikings expected to be a 14-3 team last year either. I think they expected to start a little bit of like at least a reload, if not a rebuild. But anyway, in his defense, he was the leading rusher in this game for Minnesota with 48 yards on the ground. The run game and it was efficient. Aaron Jones averaged 5.2 yards per carry. Jordan Mason averaged 6.3 yards per carry. They just didn't really go to it very much.
You don't have to say in his defense, by the way. We know most things about J.J. McCarthy will be said in defense of him on this program.
That's fair. He did have a QBR of 18.7, which, again, not good enough. And 8 false start penalties, that really puts you in a bad position as the quarterback of the offense, and one of them was actually called on him, which is hilarious. I know, Connor, you said he took the blame for all of them, but when it's 3rd and 4 and now it's 3rd and 9, or there was one play where literally he scrambled for 7 yards on a 3rd and long, and it would have been a first down if they hadn't false started immediately before that. So that kind of stuff working against you.
All right. Anything else on this game from the winning side for the Ravens?
Yeah, I think the Ravens looked like the Ravens that we expected to see early in the season. They did struggle to get in the end zone, like I said, in the first half. Brian Flores has the defense. At least last week they played really well. This week they were a really good first half. But overall,
they could not close drives. They could not close drives.
They could not.
I think that's a real thing for them that they've got to improve on.
In the second half, they did do it. And Derrick Henry, in the first half, the Ravens couldn't hardly run the ball. Minnesota was stuffing everything. In the second half, it was they had a whole drive that was almost entirely handoffs. And they found their groove a little bit, I think. I think the Ravens, as we've all said, are set up to really just go on a run here.
Those 8 false start penalties were the most by a home team in the past 16 seasons in the NFL. And after the game, players and coaches for Minnesota kind of were talking about the possibility that the Baltimore defense was making calls designed to simulate quarterback J.J. McCarthy's cadence. Didn't we just have this type of situation?
Yes.
So it's a thing that's happening.
There was an accusation in the Falcons game about clapping against New England. But if you go back and I watched the TV copy, I watched the all 22 copy, and I could not find a single person that was doing anything remotely close to clapping. So I think that one was kind of a blind accusation. And if that's the case on the other end, again, I say good. This is part of preparation. It's legal preparation. And so I don't want to hear it. By the way, I locked the Ravens. So
bang. Let's go. You're hot, Connor. You're red hot, baby. Woo. You're hotter than that sweater off the back of a truck.
A Chinese truck.
Very
like a Chinese laundry truck that also has a bunch of bootleg NFL merch.
It looks good. Right. I was supporting 9 today, though. This was for 9. So.
9. All right, let's head to Soldier Field where the Bears once again pulled one out of their butts. And I'm not being facetious or critical of the Bears. That's a skill to find a way. And they certainly did. They were getting stomped at home by the New York Giants of all teams, but there was no panic. Chicago scores the last 14 points of the game, wiping out a 20-10 deficit with 10:19 to play, winning 24-20, and they improved to 6-3, and currently they're in possession of the last playoff spot in the NFC. As I believe, the Giants fall to 2-8. And 0-6. We'll get to the Giants side of it because what's happening with the Giants this season, you've seen it before. Sometimes the coach has got to go. The coach has got to go. But let's sit on that for a second. I got to give it up to the Bears here because it was, cool looking vibes in this game. Blustery conditions, the snowflakes in the air for the first time. The Giants in the throwback uniform. Chicago obviously has their classic get-ups that they've had forever. And, going at it. But the Giants are just outplaying the Bears. And Jackson Dart goes out of this game in the fourth quarter with a concussion. We'll get to that later. And the Bears, coincidentally or not, begin their comeback right at that time. And I thought in a game where Caleb Williams, he could be frustrating to watch with his missed throws and his issues with accuracy and footwork and all that. But there is something to him. He has that franchise quarterback kind of je ne sais quoi, where he can rise to the moment and make big plays and feed off momentum. And he certainly did that on the last 2 touchdown drives, including the go-ahead scramble in the final minutes. And he overcame a day that his offense let him down. The Bears had so many drops in this game. The Zacchaeus, for instance, he had a terrible game, and he still was able to will this team back in a big comeback win. After the game, Williams once again had a message for those who doubt the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, we know who we are. We know we're real. We know that some of the issues we had today were just may have been a drop here, may have been a drop there in certain moments, and it's those are frustrating moments. But it's something that those moments happen, and so you don't waver, you don't lose the confidence. You stay right where you are. You understand that those moments are going to happen. You keep trying to lead your guys, and then from there, when it hits, you just keep harping on that. Here we go.
This is a team, Mark, that expects to win close games now, and there's been continual progress in this Ben Johnson season, and this is another example of that.
Yeah, Ben Johnson said to the team after basically I don't even know what to tell you at this point in the locker room because we're doing this every week. And I mean, I think generally, from a human angle, it does build confidence in a team with a new coach, a young quarterback, for Caleb Williams to run the ball the way he did, to be the hero of the game. You just kind of start to believe you can do it. And the thing is, they can do it. And I think that whenever I think back to when Kyle Shanahan went to Atlanta. Year 1, it took, the offense was not the full Kyle Shanahan offense. Year 2, everything bloomed and you've got an MVP quarterback. And I wonder with Chicago, we're getting deeper into the season, but I don't even know if we're seeing 2/3 of what Ben Johnson has planned for this team as these players grow. There's a lot of young guys on this team. And just to see what they've done with the ground game, not just from the quarterback, from the running back position as well. It's they're getting more and more complete. And I now believe when I watch them in close games that they can come back. I didn't a month ago.
There's that episode. Well, you see it all the time on Instagram. The clip from the Dr. Phil show where they're trying to tell that kid to sit down and he's just moonwalking back and forth across the stage. And that's what watching Caleb Williams feels like to me, where, Ben Johnson in his head is okay, 3 steps, plant your foot, and the guy who I'm designing the play is open. And Caleb Williams is woo, now I'm going to run over here and then I'm going to come back over this way and then I'm going to go all the way halfway around the field. And it's like Josh Allen-y, it's like Patrick Mahomes-y, but it's kind of also unnecessary, and that's what I love about the whole thing. It's just so fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's not like the Jaden Daniels or Lamar Jackson, where he's the smoothest looking athlete. He gets it done. He evades pressure. He finds a way, but he doesn't do it in the most graceful manner. But he finds a way. Per PFF's charting, this via Kevin Fishbane, the Bears' 6 drops were the most by one team in any game this season. On the Giants side, the Dart thing is a real concern. We've been talking about this since he first showed up. He's been fun. He's been electrifying. He's been everything the Giants could have hoped he could be, except for he doesn't protect himself. And he's only made 6 regular season starts. It feels like longer, but that's it. He's made 6 starts. He's already been evaluated for concussions in 3 games. He was evaluated for another one in the preseason, so that's 4 so far as a rookie. This is the first time he hasn't cleared protocol, so he officially was diagnosed with a concussion. And that aggressive play, Connor, which has been what has made him so immediately beloved in part with Giants fans, is the thing that he's going to have to learn to temper if he wants to hang around in this league, because you can't mess around with head stuff.
It's true, and it's sadly, it's a hallmark of the Brian Daboll offense with a mobile quarterback. You look at Josh Allen's statistics when he had Brian Daboll as a coordinator. We're looking at 10 attempt games, 11 attempt games, 12 attempt games, all throughout that time before he left with the Giants. And then remember, he ran Daniel Jones a lot before there were the neck issues and before there were the lower body issues. And this offense looks good when you have a big body like Jackson Dart who can throw and you can run GT counter and all this cool stuff that they're running. I mean, it looks Lions-esque when it's working, but the problem, like you said, is eventually the Cam Newton rules are going to apply and somebody's going to knock you out. And he got certifiably knocked out in this game. And I don't know how that serves them moving forward, because Jackson Dart's a good enough playmaker where I think you don't necessarily need the design run stuff as much. Now, I'm not an offensive play caller, but he can create a lot on his own. I don't think we need to put him in harm's way as much as we are.
I don't know if they should. If you've had 3 concussions, this is a lost team.
Well, this is his first concussion. But he has been checked for 3.
Checked for 3. I mean, but that also means you got to hit hard. He was taking these hits. And I've always kind of been pro Daboll, but I feel there's a disconnect to Conor's point about how even this was handled today. There were questions about it. And I don't know. The Daboll ship is floating away for, I think, 98% of Giants fans outside of the Daboll family.
He's already been fined heavily for going into the medical tent when Jackson Dart was being checked for a concussion a few weeks back. I mean, this all checks out. And when you factor that in, this idea of player safety and we're talking brain injuries, and then you factor in the Giants are now 0-4 this season in games in which they have led by 10 or more points on the road. And you look at his absolute horrendous win-loss record for his entire tenure after the first season. I don't know what else this guy needs to do to get fired. And the last point I want to make, it's strategy related. You are a team, even though you're supposed to have these closers on defense, on your defensive line, you're not a team that can close. And when they are up 17-10 in this game, they have 4th and goal from the Chicago 1-yard line. They send up Younghoe Koo, who hits a 19-yard field goal. There's a reason you don't see 19-yard field goals anymore, because nobody does them. They're out of vogue. Everyone realizes it's not the 3 points that you get, what you lose in field position. Even if you don't convert, it's not worth it. Like, just go for it. And worst case scenario, the team is backed up against their own uprights. He kicks the field goal to go up 10. It's a very 1993 Ray Hanley way of thinking. But here's the problem. You can't get off the field on defense. So when they score touchdowns on the next 2 drives, you lose instead of a potential tie. And one last note on that. He kicks the 19-yard field goal, Connor. And then a flag on the play. And the Chicago Bears, I think, had too many men on the field. So they would have moved it to the half-yard line. They're begging. Right. And Russell Wilson's on the field. This is the first possession with Wilson. They were running the football really well on that drive to get to the 1-yard line. Like, Daboll has no feel for the game. He has no feel for his team, and he's got to go.
It's weird, too, because remember all the way back, I think his first game as Giants head coach was against the Titans. And remember, he went for it to win. And it was like Saquon Barkley dead to rights in the backfield, got hit 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and went and made it in. I mean, if anything, you have to have that belief that even on the dumbest of decisions, you're going to have some of those plays that'll get you the touchdown. But man, I mean, you made the point earlier about Vrabel, and I think what this is with Daboll is John Mara having 3 straight post-Coughlin coaches that only lasted 2 or fewer years, and there was just something about this. Daboll won the Coach of the Year award. He wanted to hold on to it for as long as humanly possible. I don't know if this is a kind of a death knell game for me. I mean, this is tough.
Very good timing. Yeah, very good timing for our upcoming end-around show on Wednesday with the great James Palmer. We're going to check in on the hottest butts in the NFL head coaching ranks, and there are a few hotter than Daboll, who has incredibly hot cheeks at this moment. And not in the good way. Not in the Marc Sessler's buns are hot way.
Well, I'm not sure that's accurate.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
Big comeback, and in the AFC South to Houston. Like this one. Boom, 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 boom. The Houston Texans, man. Just when you're ready to count them out, they're like a body that was laying in the hospital bed and like, let's unplug it. And then it sneezes. The Texans sneezed on Sunday, down 19 entering the fourth quarter of their matchup against the Jaguars. And they kept on coming back, rolling off 26 unanswered points in the final quarter, ending with a walk-off fumble recovery for a touchdown. And Davis Mills, filling in for C.J. Stroud, had the huge go-ahead touchdown run in the fourth quarter. Final score, Texans 36, Fugazi Jaguars 29. Connor, this is the AFC South at its drunkest.
And everything is just serving to help the Colts. Like, these two teams are just broom fighting each other for second place. And meanwhile, Indianapolis is just going to walk away with this thing. Totally gutting, because this was it's set up to be a Jacksonville game. A ton of mistakes early by Houston. Jacksonville was winning the turnover battle. This was the recipe that they've had throughout the entire season. And then everything just came to this crashing halt. Like, so just full disclosure here, right? You got a bunch of things going on. You got the Giants game, which is on TV, and I know I didn't have that game, but it's beautiful and it's snowing. And then all of a sudden, my other game is Dolphins and Bills, and we'll get to that. And so you see that the Jaguars are just kicking the shit out of the Texans. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to kind of put this in third place for a hot second while I digest the snow, because it's very beautiful and I love the holidays. And then you're kind of peeping on what's going on with the Bills. And then you turn back around and you're like, what the just happened here? And so the rewatch of this was even more stunning to me. I mean, this offense completely came to a halt. Bad job. Big Nico Collins breakout game, though. I think that was a major difference, especially in the second half.
I think we all had that same experience where it's like you're only able to watch so much of it at once. And it's 26-0. It's like, I'm checking you out of I'm moving you to the side at this point. Yes. And then suddenly we are watching a complete deconstruction of the Jaguars. Like, it's like the kind of like, do they come back from this game? I'm not trying to like oversell it. Like, all these teams are different from week to week, but the way that this went down, and the fact that it came against Davis Mills, who played really well, I thought, in this game down the stretch, and they kept firing up 2-point conversions. Like, it was a complete and utter collapse that Jaguars fans will remember for a very long time for the wrong reasons.
One of my favorite old newsroom memories, when we would all be assigned to different games on Sunday. And back then, the podcast was kind of the secondary job, at least in the eyes of the executives that couldn't see the bigger picture. They would have us just hammering out copy on these games. And if Sessler was assigned to a game that he could put on the shelf, let's say a game like this is an example, and then he had to take it off the shelf, and he had to rearrange his write-up and had to start. There would be, and anybody that's worked in sports journalism knows the idea of having your story get blown up and having to rework it. But when it happened to Sessler, that's when you would see, when we talk about Dark Sessler, when you talk about the quiet storm, you would peek over into his cubicle on one of those days, and you could see like the volcano raging within the mind. And I'm just glad that we're not quite there anymore, Mark. You got to the other side, my friend. Right. And the most glaring, agitating example of this was covering the Patriots side of things in the 28-3 story against the Falcons. And I had my story wrapped by halftime and just taking line and graph and line. And I bet you were happy with it too. You're like, this is really good. This is a great Falcons it was like just filling quote here, go to locker room, filling quote. Then it's like everything just went away. So how about Danielle Hunter in this game? We're going to get to Will McDonald of the Jets, who had 4 sacks today, and I thought he was going to have Defensive Player of the Week wrapped up. Danielle Hunter, this is via PFF, 4 sacks, but 8 pressures, 6 run stuffs. So Jacksonville's offense kind of ground to a halt in part or mainly because Hunter took the game over, Connor. He did, and D'Amico Ryans is so good. I mean, I would put him up there with Todd Bowles and Mike McDonald in terms of just where you're bringing pressure, when you're bringing pressure. And really over the last few weeks, I thought defensive coordinators just in general have gotten really, really good at recognizing which running backs don't want to block anymore and which ones that I'm just going to come in and I'm going to jam like one of the A or the B gap, and I'm going to make you protect that over and over again. A lot of stunts, challenging ETN in that regard.
and I thought it panned out really well for the Texans.
Hey, Gravy, I know you, speaking of hot butts, you were pushing this D'Amico Ryans could get fired narrative. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But you did have something locked in on Thursday that came to fruition.
Well, what's the podcast policy on like patting yourself on the back? Because I'd like to remain
as
humble.
much as possible.
Okay, cool.
As much as possible.
You don't
because
seem to
we
have
take
a
a lot of
policy,
L's.
Justin.
So when you get a W, take it.
Humility out the window. I remember I said the one thing Davis Mills did well last week was get the ball to Nico Collins, which CJ Stroud had not been doing.
Don't recall.
And then,
I don't recall that.
Big Nico Collins game. Also, Connor, can we just let's just put a bow on the quad box violation? How do you feel after this insane fourth quarter?
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow.
I'm just curious if you...
Wait, does this call for a Sunday quad box hit? If we're going to go into a little quad box corner here, a little quad box post game, hit it.
Sure.
Our ass is in the jackpot now.
Put on your socks and tune in your box.
How artful this is.
Good for you!
Evan.
Hey, NFL fans. Kathy Bates here.
Okay, perfect.
Quad box post game show. Conor Orr, who was very angry to get a quad box violation because he wanted to pick Jets Browns. Justin threw the red challenge flag, and this was the game that was selected instead. I guess Justin, you're trying to take another victory lap that you were right to do that.
Yes, I mean. I also must acknowledge, and we'll get to the game, obviously, that Jets-Browns was a pretty fun watch.
It was.
In its own right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just curious, Connor, if you're how you feel about the violation.
I'm just curious.
After this 26-point fourth quarter explosion by the Texans.
Do you know, why don't you just count your blessings, Gravedigger? Because if this game would have stayed the way Sessler wanted it to stay, you would have been getting buried by Connor right now because that Jets-Brown game was a corker. So maybe
Yeah,
You little babyface bitch assassin. I love this. You're just you have this very little way of just being I'm just wondering if you're still upset about it, knowing full well that
I'm
this
just
thing
curious.
has been, I'm just curious, knowing full well this thing has been eating me the alive for the last 3 hours.
Diabolical.
Yes. Fine, Justin. Good for you.
Good for you. Good for you. All right, let's head to the nation's capital. Not exactly, but close enough. Let's go to Virginia. Sounds like Taylor Dane. All right, now to the late window. Blowout City. The Detroit Lions. Listen, I thought the Rams authored the greatest performance of any team this season offensively, but you could absolutely make the case that they didn't even have the best performance of the day. It was the Lions who scored every possession, with the exception of a kneel down themselves at the end of a 44-22 trouncing of the dead-on arrival Washington Commanders. Detroit improves to 6-3. The Commanders, without Jaden Daniels, fall to 3-7. This game, Justin, we'll stick with Justin on this one. I think the most notable thing was that Trump was in the booth in the third quarter. We'll get to that, but what else did you take out of this one?
I mean, the Lions and Commanders, look, I'll just say it's been a long time since that NFC divisional playoff game. A lot of time has passed.
Feels that way.
And this is just two teams on two different levels of skill in this league right now. The Commanders, without their starting quarterback, they're just outclassed. And it's there's not much. They're so banged up on defense, in addition to not having Daniels. Terry McLaurin's still not playing. Traylon Burks is out here catching passes. Robbie Chosen is out here catching passes, if you can even believe that. That's where the Commanders roster is at. The Lions looked amazing, and I think they might have scored on every single possession.
Except for the last one.
Yeah, until the very end.
Except for the kneel down.
Which is obviously just shows how dominant they were in this game. And something very interesting to keep an eye on. This has not been reported. I should have looked this up. I'm not sure if Dan Campbell talked about this after the game, but it looked like Dan Campbell was calling plays for the offense. This was a lot of people pointed this out on Twitter, and eventually Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma in the booth caught on to it as well, that Campbell was holding the play sheet all game, clearly talking into the headset before offensive plays. After John Morton's offense failed to score, over 25 points, I think, like 3 weeks in a row, and then the Lions had that many points by halftime with what looked like potentially Dan Campbell taking on play calling duties.
So
that's interesting.
He didn't say it at halftime, Justin, but afterwards, I think he said something to the effect of, we're just trying something a little different. Goff basically soft confirmed the fact that Campbell had been calling the plays. This is awesome. It's so awesome because you're doing two different things. First of all, you're pacifying your best players. This was a Jameson Williams issue a lot. I mean, Johnny Morton apologized to him and said that he wasn't utilizing him, had his most targets and most yards. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had his second best yards per scrimmage game. These were the guys that needed to get going, and Morton had Jahmyr Gibbs stuck in pass protection last week against the Vikings, and that was kind of the final straw. And he's not just passing this off to like the QB coach. He's like, no, f it, I'm going to do it. If something's going to change, I'm going to do it. And I think this has such good long-term ramifications. It's almost like what everybody's hoping that the Eagles would do, and they're not doing, right? Is just like pacify your stars, have those big games if you can. And Dan Campbell, I mean, he got everybody that wanted the ball. It was incredible.
Right. The box score looks like the Lions on crack, like in all the right ways. Like everyone that you wanted to.
The good crack.
The good crack, the high quality crack. And the visuals of Dan Campbell, he was like face deep in the play sheet. He just seemed to be more engaged on that front. And the Pellraiser had a tweet talking about that the same thing about the play calling thing, and that there has been talk of a reported disconnect between John Morton and Dan Campbell. None of this is totally official, but it's been hinted at by so many people at this point that it's like, that's fine. That's fine. That's probably what happened, and it's working. So whatever's going to make the Lions, this version of them, yes, we'll take it.
You know what's amazing, too? Has anybody been watching the Lions this season? And I know last week things didn't go well, being like, man, this offense isn't very good. Like they
slumped a little.
Yeah, it's rich people problems though, but to Conor's point, I totally agree. Like this is a team that's aggressively IDing internally what they can do to be better, and the head coach is the head of the ship, and he's taking a hands-on approach. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think it's the totally simplified version is let your best players get the ball in the hands of your best players. And that's what, again, watching Jameson Williams in this game, and he scores another touchdown. Jameson Williams is one of the best players on the Detroit Lions. So if you're not keeping him involved in the offense, you're doing it wrong. So good job by Detroit, and probably a tough one for John Morton, I would imagine, when he gets in his car after the plane lands in Detroit. He's like, it's gonna be a little bit of a bittersweet ride home and chat with the wife about where things are career-wise. But as long as the Lions keep winning, he should be safe, at least in terms of getting his paychecks.
And Gibbs had a receiving touchdown as well, in addition to everything you said. And Goff only had 8 incompletions. And one of the things that we had highlighted in the offseason was the mind meld that appeared to be happening between Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, obviously before Johnson left. And I don't know if that was happening with John Morton, but Dan Campbell and Goff, Campbell's gone to bat for Goff how many times publicly? Like, he's his guy, and they clearly have that close relationship where they can be on the same page.
Mm-hmm. The only other thing I'll say, because I had an eye on this game, which is Washington is not competitive right now. Like the first Gibbs touchdown was, as Justin said, on like a little kind of slant type thing where he drifted out of the backfield and then just darted across the middle. They have a linebacker covering the fastest man in the NFL, fastest running back alive. It was like, what happened to this team? What happened to the Washington Commanders? Do you guys want to talk real quick a little bit about the third quarter? We have Kenny Albert in the booth. We have Jonathan Vilma in the booth. And I would imagine if Fox knew...
Jesus Christ!
I know this now. This is a guarantee. If Fox knew that Trump was going to speak to their announcers in the third quarter for like 8 minutes or whatever it was, They probably are sending Brady or their top team there and really like being set up for the moment. Instead, it's Albert and Vilma, which just cracked me up. And what proceeds to happen is a bit of an awkward back and forth between the sitting president and in between these two men. There's a couple game stoppages, and it's clear. At one point, you see Kenny Albert, who must have been shitting his pants, honestly. His eyes darting off to the side, like someone waving their arms to him, and like being very afraid to ask a question or have to react to something that Trump says that turns the world on his ear. I could not believe there was not a Redskins reference by Trump. But at one point, Albert, after they talk about Trump's playing days as a tight end at prep school, they ask him to call a play. They fall over themselves complimenting Trump for the play call. Here was the play call. Why don't you judge for yourself whether he did a nice job with it?
And let's see, we have a very important, I think this is a very important couple of plays.
Here we go. Second and 7.
Right, 2nd and 7. Let's see what happens. Whoa.
That's
all right.
Krosky Merritt.
Not bad.
Takes it down to the 5-yard line.
That's right. That's right. Good runner.
You did an excellent job calling that play.
Thank you very much.
What does "we liked 2nd and 7" mean?
I think he got cut off by Kenny Albert because like Albert was expecting him to like just do what any of us would do if we had the opportunity to call an NFL play, which I feel like we would all do an amazing job of mimicking a broadcaster. And so he didn't set up the ball. He didn't set up the down and distance. He goes, "Here we go, very big play. Whoa."
I mean, are you surprised?
Said, whoa.
Connor put a bow on it. Connor turned his mic off. I mean, what does that mean?
I had 49ers and Rams, and I opted to stay there during this one. So I felt good about that decision.
Fair enough.
I love the Jets.
Oh, no.
Woody's a great guy. He's a great friend of mine. And they'll get it together.
They'll get it together.
This is like, do you remember, I'm not going to do this thing because it's tiresome, but I always liked it when Andy Katz did like the bracket with Obama. Remember that? Like the March Madness bracket?
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, I can't believe that they're doing that. And Trump is just calling plays for a Commanders game like during week 8 of a government shutdown. And we're just like, we're like, oh, cool.
In contrast to that, that's fair.
I think this is the first time a sitting president has been at an NFL game in like 30 or 40 years, something like that.
A regular season game since the 70s or something like that.
Nothing else going on.
All right, let's take a break, and when we get back, we'll continue to roll through Week 10. I love the Jets.
All right, you know that feeling when you open your phone bill, and think, how is this even possible? I've been there. That's why I finally switched to Mint Mobile, and now I'm wondering why I didn't do it a lot sooner. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no, Dan.
Absolutely, Mark. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to premium wireless for just $15 a month, and it's been awesome. Mint Mobile gives you high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. You could bring your own phone, keep your number, and move over your contacts. It's quick, it's easy, it's painless.
It's here's the thing. Like, I got my Mint Mobile wireless service in comparison to the old provider I had, and it was so much better. The savings are better. It's just like, what was I doing for the past number of years? And honestly, the service has been every bit as strong as my old provider, just without the bloated price tag. I'm saving real money every month, and I don't feel like I'm missing a thing.
I've picked that up. I feel like you've been a better person, Mark, since your mobile plan changed. So
it translates.
Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/heed-the-call. That's mintmobile.com/heed-the-call.
Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Doc, all new, Tuesday on Fox.
All right. Oh, no. Another Doc, and Fox is in on Doc. Let's be real about this. The medical procedural program Doc, it's gotten increasingly soapy in season 2, but they continue to make it. And if you track these things, you know what that means in terms of the network's directives. They put it as the last ad before they come out of break, which means they want eyeballs on the show. They want you to go watch Doc exclusively on Fox. And yet I can't get past, Connor, and you're the person that's watched Doc the most. As we continue to ramp up the dramatics, the melodrama, now someone's been thrown out the 4th floor window of the hospital. Like, how did we get here? Yes, last week, a priest's eyes were bleeding, stigmata. Now somebody's going flying out the window. What's next?
I think if any of these 1 weeks had happened to a regular doctor at a hospital, they would have quit and joined the Peace Corps. But Doc is just in it every week in this completely psychotic, unhinged hospital. And I got to catch up on it. If it wasn't Hallmark season, I'm going to be honest, I would probably go back and get totally caught up on it.
All right. Well, maybe you will. Maybe you will. All right. Last game. Mark, do you have any Doc take before we move on?
I have avoided the show because I feel like I get my spoonful right here on this show. I also, if I were hearing word that it was growing in, I guess, genuine drama, I would latch onto it. But it seems like it's just gone, like a writer room has gone totally crazy to cling on to this season 2. It doesn't
you want
seem
to see what happens next at this point, because like they got stigmata, they have, I think there was a gun subplot in the premiere.
Yeah.
Somebody's flying out the window, and we're not even halfway through season 2. I mean, are they going to space for the finale? Like, what's next with Doc? I mean, that there's genuine drama for me, Mark, in terms of the mechanics of the program and how it's going to continue to level up.
I don't doubt that. I just feel like in the 1 minute and a half long preview, I get as much as I need. It's giving me the outline, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. All right. We went into the break with a 44-22 game. Now we're going to come out of the break with another 44-22 game to Seattle. The Seahawks are doing that thing that we ask for. When you got a dead-ass team coming into your building and you're a contender, you put them to sleep. You put the $1 million dream on them. And just to be safe, to continue my 80s wrestling analogy, you hit them with the DDT. That's what they did. That's what the Seahawks did to the Cardinals. Scoring the game's first 35 points in the first half, and then just kind of coasting from there. Winning 44-22, the good cheer around the Cardinals after their upset win in Week 9. A distant memory, and the Seahawks, yes, remain at pace with the Los Angeles Rams, 7-2 in the NFC West. Sessdog, this team, I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 fumble returns for touchdowns in the first half of this game. It was too easy.
It's a good place to start because both of those touchdowns included the same player, Tyrese Knight, strip sacking Jacoby Brissett. Wow. So it was like, crazy. How often are there 2 defensive setups with the 2 same guys that triggered the score for the same team, separating themselves from the Cardinals? It's the kind of thing where Jackson Smith and Jigba had such a dominant first half that for a minute, they thought he was injured. He kind of came in and out, and they didn't need to use him. And Darnold starts 7 of 7 after opening 17 of 7 last week. And the Seahawks had 28 points at one point when the Cardinals had 11 plays. It was as dominant a first half that I can really recall. And then the second half just becomes a soup, where, of course, the Cardinals are going to get some garbage time touchdowns. I just see a Seahawks team that, like, again, I'm looking around, I'm like, they can win games in a lot of different ways. They've got stars on this team. Zach Charbonnet had a big game tonight. It is just an interesting thing to watch with the Seahawks because under Mike Macdonald, they have grown so fast in 2 seasons. And their show of force today against a Cardinals team, and look, I get it, no one's high on the Cardinals, but if they had done anything this season, they had played very close games. It was 5 straight losses with 14 points between all of them in the deficit. And the wheels fell off today, but I don't think it was as much about Arizona as it was Seattle. It was pretty amazing to watch. The late window was crazy, and this was all part of it.
Yeah, they had 3 turnovers in this game when the game was already decided. 2 of those turnovers set up kind of short gimme touchdowns for the Cardinals. And that was just to get it to 44-22. I mean, yeah, this is one of the biggest blowouts of the season. And this, like the Rams, I mean, this is going to be it's going to be a great race down the stretch in the NFC West because I respect the Niners, and I think the Niners can absolutely get to the number that they need to get to be playing January playoff football, but I think this is a 2-horse race for the division, and this almost might have similar vibes to me, Connor, of the Lions-Vikings chase in the North last year, where we might look up at the end of December, early January, might be looking at 2 13-win teams coming right down the stretch. These are 2 of the best teams in the league in the same NFC West.
And looky what we have on the schedule on November 16th. We have Seahawks Rams. Let's go. I mean, how great is that? I would say that, and it's so funny because the Seahawks get up so early in some of these games that I don't think that we're able to fully comprehend, like, what is their emergency strategy where it's, you're down 7-3 at the start of the third quarter and you need to establish the run. How are you doing that? And I think that Charbonnet had a good game and had the 86 yards, I think it was, but can you do that from scratch when you're not playing ahead of the sticks all the time? Can you generate that run game from nothing? Whereas I know that the Rams can do that. And I think that might be my one little nitpicky complaint about the Seahawks, but it's like, it's so unfounded because they can score in other ways. But I mean, November and December and January are all about like diversifying a little bit. So I don't know. I can't wait for this. That's going to be the first overall pick.
Absolutely. Like the one thing I'd say, it's been a couple games here where in Darnold, A+, like playing, he fits so well in this Clint Kubiak offense, but there had been a rash of turnovers when there shouldn't be in late in some of these games. And today wasn't an example of that. It was the game went to junk and like things just happened, but just something to watch. And the other little note, Rashid Shaheed, who there were notes saying like he's going to play a big role right away in this offense. Right out of the gate, they give him a jet sweep, and it was Jackson's game, and then the game got out of hand. But I think you're going to see him as a pretty decent part of this offense. Like his speed caught the Cardinals off hand. He
had 2 rushes. That was a 10-yard, 2 10-yard rushes, and then he was targeted once in the game. Darnold finished 10 of 12. I think he had 1 passing attempt in the second half, so that tells you everything you need to know. And I agree, Mark, that if there's one thing to keep an eye on with Seattle, the ball does kind of go up for grabs occasionally. Darnold maybe gets a little loose with the football at times, but otherwise, they're locked and loaded. And shout out just straight up for all my boys and girls out there that got Trey McBride on our fantasy teams. He's there for us. Like things might not be looking great for the Arizona Cardinals, but Trey McBride, I think he set an NFL record for the most games in a row as a tight end with 5+ receptions, 9 for 127 and a touch. It's either him or the guy in Vegas when you're talking about the best tight end in the league, I think. Tyler Warren, you could have a case for him as well. But
yes.
Great catch today.
Top dog at tight end. All right, let's keep moving. Up next, let's head to Berlin. How about that? Are we not playing the German national anthem just because out of safety? We had a little issue last year, as I recall.
Yeah, I was going to hit
Wrong era of the national anthem of Germany on the show last year that didn't sit well with a segment mark of our audience. And as our names are on the show, we're taking a safer path in 25.
We are. I think that's wise.
I was going to play it during the preview for this game, but we had Baldy on, so it just felt like a weird vibe. And here, I'm going for like German rave,
I was going to say this feels very Berlin. Yes.
Yeah. A little soft rave, but sure.
A lot of leather. Mark's like, these aren't the raves that my raves go harder.
I just think when you go and explore like German rave music, it sometimes can be a little bit more fierce than this. This is like
what is the state of the Hollywood rave warehouse scene in 2025, Mark?
I would not know. I genuinely would not know.
Sessler drinking the fruit punch in an old abandoned warehouse by the wharf.
I mean, I'd try it.
All right, let's see. Good game, really good game in Berlin between the Colts and Falcons. A game that went back and forth. The Falcons have a late lead. The Colts show a lot of gumption. Put it that way, Sessdog. Third and forever, down 3 points. Daniel Jones gets a long scramble and then a fourth down conversion to Tyler Warren, setting up the tying field goal, and then Jonathan Taylor did the rest. Has a career game, 244 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, including the walk-off in OT. Final score 31-25 over the Falcons, who just can't ever quite figure it out. Take it away, Sessy.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor comes out as the screaming headline. It was such an incredible thing to watch from start to finish. But down the stretch, he was a blazing wonder. And he scored 49.6 PPR points today. He has 891 rushing yards after contact this season, 350 more than any other player, and it looks like it. He is just absolute dominance. And it's not that he saves them because there's so many parts around him, but this was a Colts offense that had to overcome a number of issues today. It doesn't sound like it at the end, but penalties were a huge problem. They had 2 drives in the red zone, end on downs. They didn't convert a third down until the fourth quarter. And there were, by Michael Badgley, a killer missed field goal and a killer PAT that kept the Falcons into this. And so Jonathan Taylor did become the story. And Daniel Jones, I think, is imperfect but very resilient. But when you've got Taylor with you, he just took the thing over. And the only other thing I'd throw out there right away is that all eyes were on Sauce Gardner. And Dan, I know you were watching this too. It was a shaky performance for him, but they talked about the fact that he's had to spend 2 to 3 hours last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday just to learn Lou Anarumo's defense. So my feeling is like it's going to get better, but he had a rough, gave up a 2-point conversion on a rough play where he tripped. He dropped an interception. It just didn't look like, oh, that's the guy we traded for with 2 first-round picks.
Sauce Gardner dropped an interception? No. That can't be something that happened. I know he's done it before,
but this was on the big stage here at 6:30 in the morning West Coast time.
Not only did he have to learn the defense on the fly, he had to travel to damn Germany for a game. I think Sauce is going to help them, but yeah, he wasn't great in this game, at least on the surface. Jonathan Taylor is a brilliant player. I mean, and he's absolutely deserves to be the MVP conversation. He's flirting with 2,000 yards on the season. They ran the ball 41 times in this game for over 300 yards, almost 8 yards a clip, with Taylor obviously being the workhorse. That long touchdown run, 83 yards, where he runs into the line, bounces out, and then has the acceleration to get around the edge and just outrun everyone. That's like very few guys can do what Jonathan Taylor does. I'll say it, Connor. Daniel Jones still spooks me. He had 3 more fumbles in this game. He had an interception and 3 fumbles. He lost one of the fumbles. And now when you factor in that with the 5 turnover game last week, some bad habits are creeping back into his game. I'll just say that because we're talking about a Colts team that's 8-2, so it's going to be positive. But when you're 8-2, expectations have gone from the floor to the ceiling in Indianapolis, and when the quarterback doesn't take care of the ball, that gets me nervous.
And really what you're seeing is a continuation of the same kind of pressures and the same kind of stunts that the Steelers put on tape the week before. And so Steelers had a big game from one of their off-ball linebackers on the pressure front last week. Now Caden Ellis comes in and was playing off like David Onyemata a couple times and getting into the backfield, just getting in Daniel Jones's face. And then it's weird. It's almost like it's toddler-esque. Once a couple of those things happen, he just makes these like frustration throws where he just pushes the ball down the field for no reason, and it's either way short or way long, and it's always in harm's way. This was a hallmark of his time back at the Giants, and it's very strange to see that part of his personality creeping back out again when everything is better now for him. The weapons, the play callers, the offensive line, and so I think teams are just feeling, they're peeing in his cornflakes a little. He doesn't like that.
And let me just say this, Mark. We were just a little critical. We got after Daniel Jones a little bit, but I'll say that the Falcons have a chance to close this game out. It's 3rd and 21 in the final minutes of regulation, and they're down 3 points. And Jones takes the snap, and there's nobody open. And he takes off and gets 18, as I said, of those 21 yards back. And then he does deliver on the 4th down throw to Warren. So those are 2 big-time money plays when the game was on the line. So while the ball security is something wanting there, he once again showed why he's been such a big part of their season.
He made a couple. He had another run right up the gut. Like, he did things in this game. He took 7 sacks. I mean, he was brutalized, and there's a photo. Check out this picture of what he looked like at one point in this game. This was
I'm disturbed by
completely
it.
blood-filled mouth. And when you're watching it live, it was like, why is he in this game? But he refused to go out. They fixed it, but it's like there's something about him that feels very resilient amid a couple of weeks now of mistakes after a very perfect start. So I don't know if he's figured out. It's just that. Isn't that part of the biorhythm of the season? Like he continued to make plays today. And I mean, he's one of the reasons they got out of there.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I said, how come people aren't talking about Daniel Jones the way they talked about Sam Darnold last year, waiting for him to come down to earth? After 2 weeks where he's put the ball in harm's way a ton, now that's happening. It doesn't mean that he actually is coming down to earth. It's just now there's a little more conversation around it. There's something weird about that. The blood on his face, and I love it too. That's football. But it kind of looks like lipstick a little bit. And then it reminds me of one of the more unsettling aspects of internet meme culture in the modern landscape with professional football, where people turn NFL quarterbacks into female versions. They're like, would you have sex with your favorite quarterback? How about this quarterback? Would you have sex with this quarterback? How about this quarterback? If it was a chick, would you have sex with her? It looks like he's like that version of that meme in real time, and it was a little unsettling.
The only difference is those images that they create. It's like Baker Mayfield with the nice woman's haircut. This is a clearly
and lipstick.
Sure.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
it's a
but this was cool. This was like
Colts
manly
helmet,
lipstick.
Though, so.
Whatever happened to Gary Cooper lipstick is what that was. That was blood, bitch.
Right on.
You know what I mean? All right, moving on. An AFC East game that was supposed to be a cakewalk turned into anything but for the odd Buffalo Bills. Ceci, remind me, what did the Bills do last week in Week 9?
I'd have to remember.
I'll try. All right, I'm going to try with Connor. Connor, remind me, what did the Bills do in Week 9?
They had their best game of the season.
Thank you, Mark.
They topped the Chiefs. I was
a real
looking at
two-hander this
else.
show. We nailed that one. Yes, they beat up on the Chiefs of all teams, and then they looked like they were flying high, and then they go to Miami, and they're getting shut out. And getting beat by multiple scores. They're getting shut out in the fourth quarter. The Bills. And the defense is getting beat up by Tua and the Dolphins. And then just when you think maybe Buffalo has a comeback in them, Devon Achane breaks a big one. The backbreaker in a win for the Dolphins, 30-13. So as I said, couple that with another Patriots win, and the Bills are a game and a half out in the AFC East. And remember, right now the Patriots have the head-to-head in this one as well. Connor, make it make sense. How did this game go so sideways?
Well, it was a combination of a lot of things. Buffalo clearly looked gassed. I think they were bothered by the heat and Miami marched down the field with a really long touchdown drive to start the game. And then once they got up 16-0, you kind of saw a little bit of signs of life from the Bills, but then just an absolute monsoon of a downpour, and that changed the complexion of the game too, where I think the heat factored in, I think the rain factored in, and then it just didn't leave enough time for Buffalo to be Buffalo at the end. I mean, Josh Allen still had one of the most ridiculous plays that I've seen all season, ran like 38 yards behind the backfield to make this critical completion, but just wasn't enough. I mean, this offense looks roundly broken, and you caught Mike McDaniel on a good day, which is still possible to do. So,
yeah, give it up for Mike McDaniel, Sessy. I mean, we just talked about it. No one's in a tougher situation because changes are coming. They just fired the GM after another lifeless performance, but they've definitely showed signs of life, and you see it in the locker room after this game. The vibes are off the charts, and let's watch a little of that. Check it out on YouTube. All right, give a breakdown of this, Sessy. Give the audio audience an idea.
These seem to be large laundry carts that there's about 3 of them together, and players are just in them. Carrying each other across the locker room, going absolutely nuts, dancing around.
Yeah, this is a Dolphins staffer going into a breakdance routine.
He just did the worm.
That's pretty nice.
They deserve that.
That's nice. That's a huge win. And then after that, McDaniel spoke, and you could tell he was proud, because this is a situation where this team has every excuse in the book to completely check out. And I don't think it saves McDaniel's job necessarily, but that's a pretty nice win against the Bills team that is really smarting and needed that game.
I thought the Bills' run defense is a major problem, and the Dolphins and Devon Achane just absolutely lashed them and really took them out of this. And I think it's in a place right now with this defense that if Buffalo's offense doesn't fully show up, you're in hot water. And this is against the Dolphins. So I kind of am left with a giant burning question mark about what this team is. And my belief is not high that there won't come a day that their season ends far before they thought it should.
But Sessy, you remember
this was our number one team in the power rankings.
Wait, you remember last week, right? The game last week, right?
I do.
That was an awesome performance by their defense. And that's the thing that I imagine is Sean McDermott, if he had hair, he'd be pulling it out, because it's like, how did I get this thing back on track, even with Ed Oliver missing? And then I get this performance. Maybe, Connor, what you were saying, maybe this is like one of those things. A lot of teams in the AFC East, famously the Patriots for years have been this way. The Jets haven't won down there in forever. Teams struggle going down to Miami and playing in those conditions. Maybe that's at the root of a lot of this.
This is going to be the only comparison I can make for the look on Josh Allen's face. I was saying this to my wife. There was like this really bad made-for-TV Lifetime movie on the other day where a bunch of girls like on a cheerleading team got addicted to like over-the-counter OxyContin and then started like shooting heroin, and just the look in their face of like pure like just being out of it was what Josh Allen looked like on the sidelines of this game. Just like like he looked ill or just like totally red in the face, and I don't know. It was weird. I don't know.
If you can get Mark and I the name of that program about the cheerleaders hooked on Oxy, we would appreciate it. While you do that, here is Josh Allen after a disappointing loss.
They came ready to play.
Look at him.
They wanted it obviously a little more than us.
He's messed up, man.
Look at him.
Got to be better. Got to be better in the protection game, in the pass game.
We got to break the supply chain to the cheerleaders.
He looks like he just like stole a rung of copper wire with Tim Riggins in season 6 of Friday Night Lights. It's insane.
But recall, like after that in the Falcons game, coming out of that, it was his grandmother that told him, "I need you to be a little more lively and enthusiastic on the sideline." Like something just doesn't seem entirely right to me. You could throw this away to the weather, and I get the Chiefs game, but
we're not throwing it away. But yeah.
Let me venture a guess, okay? And Bills Mafia has kind of turned on Joe Brady. There was like the Joe Brady star rise that has gone into the star fall, the offensive coordinator. This offense just lacks like a cohesion, and you can watch a 49ers game, you can watch a Rams game, you can watch a Packers game, you can understand what the system is. The Bills are systemless, right? And that has never been more evident than I think at this point in the season right now.
And it's funny because you brought it up with Dable. Josh Allen doesn't really run anymore. He's still, a trusted option down in close at the goal line, right? But he's running less than ever, and I feel like taking that out of the offense has hurt them a little bit. Like there are also, again, I thought they've had stretches this year where the offenses look great and very tough to defend with their tight end formations. Like Dalton Kincaid went out of this game, I believe, with a concussion. I'm sure that didn't help matters. But yeah, I take a look at their schedule because the Bills are a mysterious team. They got home against the Bucs, at Houston, at Pittsburgh, home against Cincinnati, and then at New England, which is that could decide the division because the Patriots sweep you. Yep. You got to finish a game ahead of them, and that's going to be very difficult. So whatever it is, they got to find consistency, and they don't have
Eagles
that.
On the schedule too.
Anything else from this game, Connor? Anything from the CBS telecast?
Oh, yeah. So this was just to kind of this perfectly encapsulates the weather in this game. I just wanted Justin to pull the halftime interview. I think it was it AJ Ross? Was that the sideline?
It was AJ
reporter?
Ross with Sean McDermott. Yeah.
And just look at the complete destruction and everybody's makeup and everything is just, there's just hair everywhere, and Sean McDermott's midlife crisis glasses are just covered in wetness, and it just, I don't know, this is a lot. Just take a look at that.
He is one hoop earring away from the full midlife crisis.
I know.
Let's pull for it.
You dad guys love to bring up the midlife crisis when they're just functional glasses. What are you talking about?
Mark, why would you be jumpy about midlife crises?
I hear about it all the time, but it's you're talking, I get it. You're watching a Lifetime movie 7 times a week, but this guy just got new glasses. What's the choose your own adventure?
You're right. He's just reinventing himself with a sexier look at this stage of his life. And you wonder if he's using it, is he going to the tavern, the Anchor Bar, and sitting in Devil's Perch and just,
probably has 4 kids.
Scanning the room. You know what I mean?
It's like scanning the room. It's like the dad in Juno. Ready to get out.
I love you, Mark. All right, let's take one more break. Let's take one more break. Yeah, in fairness, to what Mark's saying, big weekend. My youngest turned 9 today. And
congrats.
Friday we went to some unholy hellhole. It's called it was Charlie's famous pizza or something like that. It was the most insane place. It was it's if you want to go to Chuck E. Cheese, but without the class, you go to this place. That's where I went on Friday night because that's where Harry wanted to go. And then yesterday, it was this is real dangerous, Mark. It was 8 and 9-year-olds at Topgolf, and trying to navigate that without anyone falling off the 3rd floor into the netting or hitting some hyperactive kid hitting another kid in the forehead with a backswing of a hybrid
letting a golf club go.
At one point, my elder son and his buddy just wandered off, and my wife and I just looked at each other and we're like, well, we'll see what happens there. We had to make a decision. It was just we'll see. Well, I hope he comes back. He did. And a lot of 6-7 comments were made by the kids, and everybody had a gay old time. But that
you're the one plugged into younger culture, not I. I don't know.
Yeah, but to the point, not the
I
most
also
dangerous
have children,
weekend.
by the way, but that's a different thing.
Do you have new glasses that you're going to debut? Was this a preemptive?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Can I just defend my wording on that? If you're just a regular guy, and all of a sudden you just walk in the door with those one day, you don't think like anybody's going to ask any questions in the house. Like it's just going to be like everything's going to be totally
naturally,
right?
The wife, of course, is going to want to wonder why you got these stylish, youthful glasses.
Here would be my comment. He's not just a normal, regular guy. He's an NFL coach of the Buffalo Bills. You know what I mean?
But like at some point, he had to pick out those glasses. And if I'm the wife, you just ask why. Why?
He put them on, Mark, and he looked in the mirror at maybe Warby Parker we love Warby Parker.
We do. They're great.
And said, I look hotter now. And what's that about?
Well, so why go to the gym? Why better your habits?
Hey, listen.
Why? No, I mean, like,
everything you're saying makes sense.
Everyone's doing that, though, if they've got their act together, right?
Listen, everything you're saying makes sense, Mark. And if you have a hoop earring, let it out. Because we won't judge.
It's not about what I'm wearing. Like, plain as can be over here.
All right, so let's take a break, and we'll finish it up. Oh, let's get nasty in the NFC South. Wait, seriously? This game I totally missed today. Totally off my radar.
Yes, it's serious.
I know we're supposed to think the Panthers are good now, and now I look down and I see Saints 17, Panthers 7. Justin, what the
Yeah, I'll tell you what the Tyler Shuck. That's what the this guy balled out. He was really good today. I mean, really good, maybe a stretch. But for a guy making his second NFL start, I thought he was pretty damn good. And the Panthers were all sorts of just out of sync. They couldn't really run the ball. I don't even know what to tell you. Bryce Young, I don't think Bryce Young is the guy long-term in Carolina. Just way too many misses. Threw a horrible interception against zone coverage that he absolutely should have seen the underneath defender dropping out. And this game had the best example of ball don't lie that I've ever seen in a football game. Do you guys know this rule? If you kick a field goal and it gets blocked, but somehow the ball gets touched, like if it goes beyond the line of scrimmage somehow despite the block, and it gets touched by the team who blocks it, the team who kicks it can recover the ball and maintain possession with a fresh set of downs.
That did not seem right. Like I saw the pool report on that, and I was like, I think you're making that up.
Wait, is that the Leon Lett play?
Is that the Leon Lett play? The only Leon Lett play I know is that he dropped the ball before crossing the goal.
No, there was a Thanksgiving field goal butchery that also happened in his career. But yeah, I might have that wrong. But
in snow.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I mean, I can see it making sense I can't really see it making sense. It's not a punt. If you're kicking a field goal and you miss it, that's your fourth down. There's no, I don't understand how possession changes and then changes back to you. But whatever, regardless.
Yeah, that is just I did have that right, I think, because that's what happened in the Leon Lett game against the Dolphins. I think it was
Adler. Anyway.
Okay.
What year did you
Anything
say?
else from this game?
Yeah. So this happened in this game. The Panthers line up for a field goal. It gets blocked. It's accidentally touched by Cameron Jordan, and the Panthers recover it, and they have a 1st and 10 from almost the exact same line of scrimmage. The ball didn't really it was so weird. And 2 plays later, the Panthers try to run a reverse to rookie receiver Jimmy Horn, who clearly had no idea that he was supposed to be getting the ball on the reverse because he's just running the sweep motion with no eye on the ball, and Bryce Young sticks it out and just knocks it off his arms, and the Saints recover it. And I was like, thank you. The Saints just blocked a field goal. They should get the ball, and they did a couple plays later, and then they go down and score a touchdown to make it 17-7. There wasn't a lot of scoring in this game, but again, my biggest takeaways are Tyler Shook, I want to see more, and Bryce Young, I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough. I know Connor has been a Bryce Young supporter, so I'm curious what he thinks of that. No? Shaking his head. No?
What other things are you curious about, Justin, that you just want to maybe come out
There's
and
that
say?
word again.
Yeah, just come out and say, damn it.
You guys don't seem to like my curious nature, but I am just...
No, I think what Connor's getting at is when you use that descriptor curious,
For me
it's kind of you're kind of doing like windmill dunks on Connor's takes.
No, because I'm like
This is the
genuinely...
last time I go on the fucking Titans podcast, by the way.
I'm genuinely wondering if I misjudged this game or if I'm like being too harsh or what. Like I'm actually curious what your thoughts on this Bryce Young season has been. I don't know. Like throw for over 110 yards at least once, you know? I know he has, but
17 of 25, 124 yards, interception, and he had another interception wiped out by a roughing the passer penalty. That's a tough loss for the Panthers.
A bad penalty, by the way.
He's not even playing as well as he did at the end of last season. Like, I think it's like, where's the growth? I get what you're saying. It's like, we're not all buying tickets to watch this every week.
It's just a terrible, terrible loss. I mean, I still can't believe when I just pulled it up and saw it, because they were set up to get to 6-4. They had Atlanta on deck, who they already shut out earlier, and all that momentum goes up in smoke. All right, let's move on. Oh, baby, it's the Heat. It's Heat Bowl 8, Sessy. To the Meadowlands. The New York Jets. Oh, baby. Hottest team in football in the last 2 weeks. They're tied.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
New York gets a kick return for a touchdown. Then they get a punt return for a touchdown. And even though they were once again shackled by Justin Fields and a game plan and scheme that clearly tells the football viewer the OC and the head coach do not like the QB, they made enough plays in the end to beat the Cleveland Browns 27-20. That's 2 straight wins for the Jets after their 0-7 start and their first win at home in 5 tries. And the Browns fall to 2-7. And 5 days after trading cornerback Sauce Gardner and defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, I thought that the Jets, and maybe they thought too, that it's tanking time. And I also think people are going to say, oh, look at the Jets doing Jets things. And they're going to blow the draft pick. I don't care. I like Jets fans going to the Meadowlands on Sunday and finally getting to go home and go out to their cars after winning a football game. I like that there were some exciting plays that you got to watch. And while I don't want them to go 6-11 or some type of annoying record, banking a couple of wins and getting some good vibes and just in general allowing Aaron Glenn and his staff to get their feet underneath them finally is a really good sign for an organization that has so much work to do. So beating the Browns, who beat themselves in this game, Sessy. I mean, the Browns, I know you've been pounding the table a little bit. You want the Browns to be seen as shitbirds at the level of the Jets and the Titans, and maybe they are, because given what the Jets just traded away to give up 2 special team scores, and then at the end of this game with the Jets just trying to, clearly aren't going to snap the football, and the Cleveland jumps off sides to end the game. And it's just like, this is the hallmark of bad teams. And Kevin Stefanski, his butt continues to get hotter as well.
Yeah, and if you're special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone on the Browns, you are on monster.com right now, because that was an outrageous start to this game. Outrageous, inexcusable. And I thought the Jets showed much more on overall. The Browns defense still continues to play hard around Myles Garrett. I see them care. This offense to me is, and Dylan Gabriel was not terrible in this, but I just don't see an NFL quarterback. There's no way you can project that to me as a long-term answer. And it's like the 6th week in a row where Kevin Stefanski is asked, like, would you consider, do you want to see Shedeur Sanders? Like, whether or not he's a lightning rod, like, do we want to get out of this season knowing what we have? And there's something going on inside of that organization where he seems like a Manchurian candidate. He won't give any detailed answers. He seems joyless on the sideline. And there are some good players on this team, but they're not playing up to who they are on any level. And I don't think they were the better team today. And I think the Jets put it to them down the stretch. And it's like, I wasn't able to watch every second of this thing. But to start the game the way you did, and to fend off a couple of Cleveland's players having big games. And I don't think Cleveland's defense did a whole lot in this either. It's like, this team is collapsing. And I don't think Kevin Stefanski survives after this season. I'm almost certain he does not.
I'm surprised, Mark, that you locked up your Cleveland Browns in this game.
I don't know what I was doing at this point, like, because this could have gone either way with some weird fluky stuff, but that was a classic. Like, it's Thursday, we're almost off for the weekend. Like, like let's get a little spicy with our lock, and then it's like, it's Sunday, and what a disaster.
By the way, was talking about the Blind Locks Manifesto. Never lock your own shitbird team. Like, we every time we do this, I do it all the time. Justin does it a lot. Mark, you've done it many times. It usually does not work out for the best. And Kene Nwangu had the 99-yard kickoff return. Moments later, after the Browns go off the field, after the Jets are punting the ball away, he takes it back 74 yards for a score. And then, Connor, the kind of turning point in this game, because I think the Jets had minus yards passing again at halftime in this game, and Cleveland's defense was playing up to par. But they bring the house with the game tied at 17. Garrett Wilson's out of the game. He re-aggravated his knee injury. And Fields finally makes a play. He takes a big shot, but is able to dump the pass off to Breece Hall, who catches it, takes it into the end zone, 42 yards, and the Jets never trailed from that point on.
In these games, like you said, I think you nailed it at the top. They needed to win this game. I think getting blown out in this game in particular, after you lose your two most important players, is a harbinger for a bad remainder of the season to come. I think this is one of those things where Aaron Glenn can now point to successfully and say, see, at least I have very minimally a grasp on the emotional temperature of this locker room. And so I think that's important, and good on Breece Hall, man. That guy wanted to leave more than anybody, and he's still playing hard.
Yeah, he's playing his ass off. He's playing really well. I hope they keep him, because it would be a mistake not to trade him and then he just walks as a free agent. He's one of those guys I would love to see him in the building. So there you go. They honored the late Nick Mangold with a pregame tribute before the game, so that was nice. And the Jets get a win. They're second in a row. All right. Anything else from this game, Mark, that you wanted to add?
Well, just congratulations.
Oh, well, thanks, buddy.
I am more detached than you are at this point from the team I follow. They are annoying me. They've especially annoyed me today.
I get it. It kind of makes it easier. Which, again, why did you lock them? Maybe you're so detached that you forgot that they're the Browns, but that's fine. It's all good. And to Connor's point, Jets are going to go to New England on Thursday without Garrett Wilson. They're going to get absolutely obliterated. So bank this win, bank back-to-back wins, and then have something positive on the ledger heading deeper into November. All right, I'm going to leave now. I've talked about the Jets winning. That was nice. I've hit all the other games. It's my son's birthday. He's 9. You don't get these years back.
Right.
So I am going to leave, and we're going to go out, and my wife and I are going to take the boys out for some ice cream.
That is well-deserved.
It's not dangerous, Mark. There's no bad boy behavior here, but it is the duty that I hold dear. So I am off.
I think you're a noble parent. I think you're a good friend to all. So go out and have that ice cream.
I love your sons. I love your children, Connor. Justin, may you and Jessica create 14 children in your giant Dallas mini mansion. And now, take it away, Sunday Night Football. A
day that began about 22 hours ago in Berlin. crescendos in Los Angeles with the Chargers taking out a wanting Steelers team 25-10. The game ends with the biggest moment. Keenan Allen crowned with the most receptions in Chargers lore. A joyful moment for them. But it began and continued on with, I thought, Connor, a Jesse Minter special against an Aaron Rodgers-led team that didn't look like they were led by anyone this evening.
There's some games, right, where it looks like I'm sure that there is planning and you go over plays and you practice, and then just on Sunday, Aaron Rodgers just decides I'm just gonna draw it up on the palm of my hand and I'm gonna throw the ball 35 times and I don't know where it's gonna go. And this was one of those games where when he's not working, when this offense isn't working, it's the hardest watch in the NFL. And I say that knowing that the Browns and the Jets played each other this week.
Yeah, it was, you could tell DK Metcalf was frustrated. Rodgers by the end was steamed. And it really was like, after some of the progress we've seen from their offense, like to watch him kind of spin backwards into a sack for a safety, the terrible interception he threw. And at one point they're going for it on 4th down from the LA 10 with a chance to get back in the game, which is very rare for the Steelers. And it's a pass to Metcalf, great coverage by Cam Hart, but they just could not find their way. They could not find their way. And you felt the Chargers getting stronger and stronger, minus any sort of hope from Pittsburgh's run game, pass game. And I guess it's like, I don't want to overreact, but it leaves you kind of just thinking, this is just, the middle of the pack type of team we've kind of been suspicious they are. Do you feel like it really says much about where they're going?
I feel it in my bones, right? It's just creeping up to 9-8. And I hate that that's where it's going, because that's where we all thought it would go. And it felt so like wholly unoriginal, and you're trying to intellectualize it and galaxy brain it and say, well, if they have an offense, if they can work on it, and if there's this cohesion, and if it looks like it did in Green Bay, it's just not going to happen. And I thought Chris Collinsworth made a good point tonight. Like, this team does lack things like a secondary wide receiver, which, like, then why would you get out of your multi-tight end sets? They lack those additional playmakers, but a lot of this is just not having a plan, not having an offense. It just doesn't look like anything.
I mean, and that's on Arthur Smith to some degree too. It doesn't feel like they're cooking up anything too special here. I mean, the Chargers, this was a rough watch in the first half for both teams on offense, but I thought they found a way, minus their tackles, to get their core pieces that are on the field, like a Ladd McConkey going. Kamani Vidal he grew in power. I didn't realize he was the nephew of Hank Aaron. That caught me by surprise, that message. That they mentioned that on the broadcast, and I was like, did I just hear that? Like, that kind of threw me. But it's like these pieces still exist. And like Herbert, I mean, he'll just do stuff every game that in a rough environment too, where he finds a way to survive. And they made some good points about the culture of Jim Harbaugh down the stretch, that he sort of said, we're just going to keep doing what we do, not flip the script and change everything. And I thought that was proven true by the end of the game. This Steelers defense has been hot and cold, but they've had their moments of late. And this just seemed more like a Steelers team to me than the actual Steelers. Yeah.
I mean, they're just a guaranteed, like they're a lock for an efficient game on the ground for the most part. I think that now that McConkey's going, like you said, this offense is going to survive. And it's to the point now where I don't think it matters how many injured people are out. It reminds me a little bit of the AFC East, Mark, where it's like, are these teams that are in first place or close to first place building sort of an insurmountable lead? Like, the Chiefs are out of the playoff picture right now. The Bills are struggling. Like, is the Patriots lead such, and is the Chargers advantage? And I know they're not in first place in their division, but are they amassing enough wins at this point where they're just going to knock somebody, a more deserving team, out of the playoffs because they're just not losing games?
And they have that early opening game win against the Chiefs as well.
Yeah.
And they're a game behind Denver, and Denver's another team where I'm like, I see it and then I don't, and then I do and then I don't. So it kind of comes down to how it goes, how these teams fare injury wise, but also just what they plan to do. I guess really inside their own divisional games. And then you've got Pittsburgh sitting at 5-4 now, and it feels so inevitable, and it's sort of an annoying storyline to me. But Baltimore at 4-5, it's like, okay, they're just going to surpass Pittsburgh at some point. They play each other twice. Like, is this just it's just going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, my curiosity is where the Steelers go from here. And I know that they're banged up tonight. You had to move Jalen Ramsey back to corner. You had to pull kind of a lot of strings just to get this defense through the afternoon. But if they're that easily combustible, right, is this plan as foolproof as we thought it was? And it's like a bit metaphorical, but I think every game that Mike Tomlin has coached in for the last like 65 weeks now, they've shown a slow motion like shot of him like glaring like angrily, and for some reason I'm just like not intimidated by it anymore. I used to be very intimidated. I told him that when we talked on the phone like last year. I was like, I just feel like I would be very intimidated by you if we were talking in person. But I feel like this just isn't doing it for me anymore. Like this Steelers team like isn't a Steelers team. The mystique around it really isn't such. It's just like, all right, you know, you're just kind of a jobber that's going to show up and maybe you'll score 18 points and that's good enough.
Yeah, it feels sort of preordained. Well, it's been a long Sunday, Connor. Thank you for your service as always. Justin, thank you. And we will be back Monday night with our Monday night extravaganza. It should be a very good game. It's Philadelphia at Green Bay. We'll see you tomorrow night with all the rest of what to come. Heed the call.